That, Michael. No blue screen. We are the case of the blue meanies for most of this world is
I guess
subsided.
they must have been up early in Redmond this morning, eh?
Oh, man, I'll tell you, holy moly! I don't think they went to sleep last night in Redmond. Good morning, everybody. It's Michael Knight and Vinnie, Mikey and Vinnie, on a freaky fractious Friday that closes a pretty freaky fractious 3 weeks if you think about it. If we go back to the between and Trump, and you think about that, wow, man, it's been a craziest 3 weeks in American politics I can remember in a long time.
A lot of promises have been made by politicians in the past couple of weeks, especially last night. What they didn't promise is that we'd wake up this morning with the internet working. Strike Force. Did they check their upload before they sent it out? They did not. Were they certain? They were absolutely certain. Were they for imprint certain? No, they were not.
Right. They were definitely not for imprint certain. That's why one of the sponsors of my Saturday show is George Jackson. He does the same thing that For Imprint does. But he's a local guy. You can pick up phone and you can call him. George, where's this? Where's that? How I need this. Can you change this? And he's okay, no problem. We'll get it. Then he goes and he does it, right? If you're trying to get a hold of Foreign yesterday, you're not getting a hold of anybody. George Jackson.
They're not answering the phone at the Strike Force Tower in downtown San Francisco. Nobody home. We went home.
I'm sorry. We're staying out of the shadow of the Millennial Building.
All you have to do to make the patch work is log on. Wait, we can't log on. You locked us out. Okay, so just log on and reboot your computer. We can't. Don't you understand? We can't get on the computer. Yeah, I'm telling you, we sent you a fix. It'll be in your email. We can't get our email. So just log on and do this. Then they ask you, did you check the plug? Is the plug in for sure? Did you check that for sure?
Although a part of the system must have been working, because although I got I couldn't log on to my medical thing because I have an appointment on Monday,
right.
And I was trying to log on to check in for the appointment, but it sent me 3 notices that said you have to go make an appointment. So part of it was working.
Well, here's the thing: Apple stock just went up like 100%.
Well, yeah.
Apple completely unaffected, not just like all the other viruses and crazy things that happen. It always hits Microsoft the worst because they have no defense, and it never hits Apple at all because they're built differently.
Well, Mikey, I switched from. Sorry, just got to do something. I switched from Microsoft, from their operating system to Apple. I don't know, 3 years ago. I had never owned an Apple computer before, and I decided to take the dive. And while there are things on Apple that you can't do that you can do on Microsoft, the Windows operating system, there's certain freedoms that you have to do things and move around, create some of your own stuff. For the most part, if you're not a computer geek, if you just want plug and play, Apple is far superior. It fairly easily tells you where to put things, and it fairly easily operates in a manner that works easy with people. Yes, you give up some of your autonomy. Yes, they monitor your information. They keep your information or whatever they do. But for the most part, for the average user,
and here's the thing about Microsoft. First of all, they don't have their own defense mechanism to avoid viruses. So you need Strikeforce or something to help you defend yourself against being taken over by an outside force or any idiot that just wants to screw with your operating system.
I want to be taken over.
Or steal your password or whatever the case may be. And why does Microsoft allow that to happen? Why does Microsoft, after all these years, still let itself be completely vulnerable to every idiot coming down the pike? I don't understand that.
I said it beats the living crap out of me. All of a sudden, for some reason, my my
Your audio is gone, but it's back.
yes, as sometimes it does on this application that we use called StreamYard.
Did you watch the speech last night?
I watched part of it. I couldn't stay for the whole thing. I was really getting kind of sick at one point. I was getting.
He does turn my stomach. There's a fact associated
Yeah,
with
I
watching
just
him.
for all he got me to do something that I think he got a lot of people in this country to do. Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. He got me to feel sorry for him for a day, or maybe even 2 days.
Sunday you had.
He even got me to the point, and I can understand how people get this, where my anxiety went up enough that I started looking at, well, what's he really saying?
Yeah. See if I can translate
well, that
this.
really isn't a bad idea. And then I checked into some of these sites that I follow, some of these people I follow on YouTube that are definitely liberals. There's one guy, City Nerd, and he took apart a good portion of this Project 2025 and how it would affect cities. And when you watched it, you said, wow, this is a bunch of bright minds coming together. I mean, the Democrats have showed me nothing like this. And then I snapped back into reality last night. Now, maybe that has something to do with I took my medicine.
You took your medication. Donald did not take his.
I took my medication, and all of a sudden I was back in a space where I could feel better about myself and about it.
You could tell the truth from poop. But weren't you inspired by the low-level, shoddy introductions? Hulk Hogan, Kid Rock, Eric Trump.
Oh yeah,
the lead-in was the worst possible lead-in that he ever had.
Yeah, I can't tell you how inspiring that was to me. I can't tell you.
Seedy, cheap, white trash material.
I can't tell you, Mikey, how.
Did I say white trash? I meant to say poor white trash. The middle class white trash was well represented last night, but at least they had new cowboy hats.
Well,
but
again,
the cult was starry-eyed, teary-eyed, slack-jawed, looking on with adoration.
I guess I just, I like to always think, well, why don't people see through this?
Why can't they see through it?
Yeah, why can't they see through this? What is there about this, what's going on, that people look at and say,
it's fraud. Let me have more of it. I want it on my breakfast. I want it on my lunch.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. It's hard for me.
Oop. We're frozen. Will he come back, or does he realize that maybe I'm frozen too? Well, Freaky Friday.
I think we got it.
Looks like we're up.
I think we got it. I think we got it.
Thank you, Strike Force, once again for a Freaky Fabulous Friday.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Strike Force or it's me or what. I don't want to blame Strike Force for anything that I am doing, but certainly it's not your usual thing that goes on. I don't know, Michael. I wonder. Hey, we got my friend Linda listening this morning.
Hello, Linda.
Is one of my oldest friends.
Tell her to stick around. Eric Trump's going to be our special guest this morning.
No, she's one of the persons that I think about when I think about intelligent, smart people that that maybe usually just don't see things the same way I do, but I still respect them. I still love them.
Well, if you want both sides of the story, just call the Biden campaign. You can talk to the person that says he's going to stay in the race, he's going to be there forever, he's committed to it, you have to get behind him. Or you can talk to the person that says the family's getting ready to pull the plug, he's sick as a dog, he can't go on, Kamala Harris is the candidate. And when they ask you, they say, which side do you want to hear? We'd like to hear both. Well, okay, I'm going to give you he's staying first, and then we're going to give you the family's preparing second.
Well, how do you stick with? How do the Democrats stick with Biden at this point? I mean, in reality, I don't see it. I mean, listen, I've been watching politics for a long time, Michael. You know I love politics. Even though every once in a while I get sick of it. Oh, by the way, Linda, I love you. Linda Lou, I love you. I know Linda Lou since I'm like 10 years old, man.
They call my baby Patty, but her real name is Linda Lou.
Yes. And my buddy Peter Sansone is listening this morning. I've been watching politics a long time, Michael. You know that. We were so involved in politics here in Seattle in the 90s.
Since John Lindsay was buying new suits.
Yeah, with the stadium issues and everything. And it was a spectacular thing to get so involved that you saw what's going on behind the scenes. But when you open up that curtain and you look behind
it's a mess back there.
I'll tell you, there hadn't been a cleaning lady in there in a year.
No. Just the wizard and the monkeys that can fly.
And what we're seeing is the worst of all. Now, it's funny because as I was looking through and watching the Trump stuff, there are certain things there that I believe in. It's I believe in this country. I believe in that we are a group of people that really have it over most of the other countries in the world. Not all of them. We could take some lessons from a few.
Like Viktor Orban. He's tough.
Well, that's who they want to take the lessons of. And I'm looking for more taking the lessons of, somebody from places like Denmark and Sweden and those types of societies where people are happy to be there. They want to live there. And I think people are happy to be here, but there seems to be this thing about the only way we can really be happy to be here is if we're driving massive pickup trucks.
Well, no, there's one other thing that'll make us happy. If we can just round up 10 million people and send them back to where they came from, and it doesn't matter where they are. In fact, it would be a lot easier and more cost-effective, Vinnie, if we just round up the first 10 million we come to.
But that proves it.
I'm from Texas. You got to go back, boy. No, yeah. I'm from Texas.
I don't know how you do that, man. I don't know how. I mean, I just looked at the it's no Republican
plan. Mass deportations. Mass deportations now.
What are they going to do? Just drive down? They're going to take buses in LA and just pick people up in San Diego, in Yuma, Arizona, in Tucson? Are they just going to go along the borders and grab people in the dark?
Until they get 10 million, and then they're done.
Is that what the plan is?
There's a holding tank, though. There's a concentration camp where they put them while they're processing them. So that's good.
Because I'm for grabbing people who have done crimes in their countries and have, come across the border.
And how do you track those? How do you know who did a crime in Honduras and walked across the border?
Well, you have effective communication, which isn't always easy to do. There was just a case I was just watching on, I don't know, MSNBC or Fox or I forget which one, but it was NBC actually. But they had somebody going out with these border patrol people, and they went around and they looked at, they went around and they found out, they ran records of people, and the Colombian police called and says, well, these two people are wanted for murder in Colombia. They escaped. So they went out and they got them. They went out, luckily, thank God, knock on wood, hopefully they got it before they committed a crime. I don't have a problem with that.
If they were tough guys who could have helped us round up the rest of the 10 million. We could have paid them and got something out of it.
Well, yeah, but Mikey, you can't just let people in. You can't just let people. Let me change it. You can't let people in uninvestigated.
Well, then put J.D. Vance in charge of who gets to come.
Well, that's not what you want, because he doesn't want to let anybody in. You see, he wants you to be. You have to have some kind of system that detects people that are criminals. You can't just let criminals. That's not how it worked when my grandfather came over. When my grandfather came over, they took him off a ship. They took him into a place on Ellis Island. They examined him to see if he had chicken pox. And if he had chicken pox or bolly pox or whatever freaking kind of pox you got, they said, you don't come in quite yet. You stay here until your pox is over. What's wrong with that, Michael?
Pox examination seems to be a good idea.
So what's wrong with doing it for criminals? What's wrong? And I know
the people that say we have a criminal problem at the border, the ones who refuse to join Joe Biden on the border legislation that would have solved that problem.
Right.
They wanted it to be. They don't care about the border. They don't care about the issue. They don't care about the people. They don't care a damn about the whole Texas border. They're doing it because it's an issue.
About it. That's
an issue that gets people in Milwaukee drinking beer and eating cheese.
They had a chance to do something. They pounded out a bill, and they didn't do it. Why? Because of the fealty to Donald Trump.
There you go. That's why they're crying in their cowboy hats last night.
So they got the issue.
94 minutes of boring, rambling, disjointed old man talk.
They got the issue they wanted. So
two things that happened last night that both CNN and MSNBC noted. They said, if that's his acceptance speech, we got this guy. That was a poor speech. It was a bad speech. It was poor. It was out of prime time. It was 94 minutes long. It was crapola from start to finish. It was full of lies. It was full of distortions. It was full of half-truths and nonsense. And that puts Donald Trump on the defensive. Now, if we only had a candidate that could make sense out of that and charge him with the crimes that he committed last night against the truth, we'd have a race. By the way, what is the margin of error? Why do we even run anybody? We should just say we don't have any candidates in this race, and we're in the margin of error with nobody running.
Well, I feel I felt the sense in watching what I did watch of the convention. I felt the sense of inevitability. I felt the sense
that Hulk Hogan was
charged up.
Hulk Hogan was going to finish ripping his shirt.
Yeah, I felt the sentence. I know. I mean, geez, can't you get some more relevant? Hulk, what was it that somebody said? I think it was Stephen Colbert who said that the answer to the question to the Google search is Hulk Hogan still alive? I thought that was hilarious. Oh, the other great line from Colbert was Kimberly Guilfoyle. He said she was a a Kirkland Lara Trump. No, a Kirkland Ivanka Trump.
It's like her face caught on fire and somebody put it out with a shovel.
Anyway, yeah. I don't know why they. I mean, most people I know, Republicans and Democrats, are astounded by her.
Yeah.
They leave Milwaukee, and I talked to my friend who's at the convention. I mean, I spent 15, 20 minutes with him yesterday on the phone. And he said it's kind of like a Bund rally. You know? Or Bund, not Bund. 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 The Bund.
The Bund.
B-U-N-D.
The Bund. They're
The
Bund.
So, I mean, I think that's,
cowboy boots instead of jack boots.
Yeah, everybody's pumped up, and of course, the assassination attempt, put it to a whole new level.
Now they were saying that there's two kinds of Secret Service. There's the real Secret Service, and then there's the D-Secret Service, the deferential ones that stand by Donald Trump, but they defer to him in all decisions. We're going to jump on you now, if that's okay, Mr. Trump. We're going to get you up now, but you'll have a chance to wave. We're going to put you in the car now, but you can stand up and show your head to the shooters. You can break our protocol in every step of the way because you're in charge. We're not. That's why he got shot.
No, I don't agree. He got shot because some idiot got a hold of his father's gun and he went up on a roof that the Secret Service or local police or somebody left unprotected.
And where was his gun, by the way? All of his reconnaissance, he didn't have the gun with him. Then suddenly
he was walking around with the gun.
He was walking around with the sight finder, the distance finder, the golf distance finder. The gun was stashed somewhere else, and nobody ever had been able to figure out where he had that gun previously secreted away.
They saw him. They identified him as a suspicious person.
20 minutes before.
20 minutes before. Where were the Secret Service? Where were the people that were going to come and pick him up and take him in and say, "What's your story, pal?" At the very least, hold him until the next, until the rally was over. If they couldn't figure anything out,
or delay Trump's speech by 5 minutes and figure it out.
Or delay the speech. So the Secret Service and the local police up there in Butler, a town I know well, have some splaining to do. And I truly hope that there is a full, investigation into this. This is not this is not the way it's supposed to go.
Well, he was identified as suspicious, but they never checked him out. They never put eyes on him.
Right, that's what I'm saying. How could this guy be walking around for 20 minutes and nobody went over to him?
Never grabbed him by the lapels and said, "Who the hell are you?"
Not that they didn't know. So, all right, that's. So now we're on to Trump is left. He's going to Michigan with J.D. Vance, and he's going to campaign, and that's a beautiful thing. And they're going to be out there telling every lie that they can tell and ginning people up.
By the way, did you think he looked tired and worn last night?
I thought he looked beat. Hey, if I got shot on Saturday, I'd look freaking beat too.
He played golf on Sunday. What tired him out more, the shooting or the golf?
Probably paying the guys that he lost to.
He didn't pay.
That probably tired him out the most. All right, so Trump is the candidate. La-di-da, off to Michigan we go to start the process.
Well, there's a little matter of a convention coming up in Chicago.
Well, let's hang on.
The whole world is watching. The whole world is watching.
Don't get ahead of me. Now you got Joe Biden, the presumptive candidate.
He's sick as a dog.
He's stuck in Rehoboth Beach, another place I know well. Very beautiful community on the shores of Delaware. Been there many times. it's Springsteen country, and he's like, stuck in a room. And every time he is, he's stuck in a room.
I wonder if he's
And
in the
every time
garage.
he touches anything, it says quit. He opens up his desk drawer. There's a little guy in there saying, "Leave, Joe." He goes over to the closet to put on his presidential jacket. Matter of fact, he's got Bob Menendez's old jacket in there with the gold bars. He says, the gold bars look at him and say, "Joe, get out of it." He turns on his favorite show, Morning Joe, and it's now changed to Morning No Joe.
They're doing the countdown.
The buzzards are circling
in Ohio
over the carcass. I put it on our poll this morning. I put a poll up on our Facebook page. I'll go take a look at it in a minute. What do you think Joe Biden should do? And I'll ask. Oh, by the way, they're holding back the elites, the people that fund the Democratic Party.
Well, the party elites that have been talking to him actually are part of the party. They are the speaker. They're the
right, but they're holding back the money. They're holding back the cash, and as we know in America, money talks, bullshit walks.
Bullshit says nothing will get him to drop out. Nothing.
Well, then they're going to have a problem because I don't know how I think for the Democrats to have something. Now, you can talk about what Joe Biden has done for this country until the cows come home.
It ain't selling.
The dog ain't hunting, pal. The weasel ain't weaseling.
No, not that.
The lemon ice ain't kinging.
I thought weasels always weaseled. You can't.
The spaghetti is not with the meatballs.
Can you take the weasel out of the weasel? Apparently so.
Joe Biden is looked at like vegetarian lasagna on 18th Avenue in Brooklyn.
It's like Happy Venus. It's visiting day at the home.
Yeah, Lucky Venus, our good friend Lucky Venus.
Oh, his brother's happy. That's right.
Oh, his brother's happy? Not if he watched that speech last night. He said, "Well, I'm here at home. They had the speech on. I'm supposed to get in bed at 10 o'clock. This guy's talking till midnight."
This is bullshit. What's he saying?
How many people you think took the train to the convention center last night and got stuck having to take Ubers home because the train stops running at midnight? So anyway,
Milwaukee, you have a lot of explaining to do.
Milwaukee's a great town. I love Milwaukee. Milwaukee, I have family that was that's from there, and it's a great town. I love Milwaukee. I'm glad they had the convention. I was sorry that I didn't see anybody talking about Usinger sausages. Because they're the best sausages, and they're the ones that they make them like a football, so that you can have them at your Green Bay Packers fete during football season.
And did they come in flavors? Did they have hot links?
Oh yeah. Usinger's has. I mean, it's German sausage mostly, but they have different flavors, different cheese packs you can get. There's a lot of different things going on. So what I want to know, Michael, is what did the Democrats do? There's two ways to create excitement here.
The answer is 3 words. Fight, fight, fight.
Now, see, that dog ain't going to hunt, though. Because all of these people who have now said they want Joe Biden to quit are going to have to go on stage if Joe Biden is the candidate and say how much they love him. And it's hard to tell somebody that you were asking to leave the building 3 weeks ago that you love him.
Well, he's not going to be well enough to go to the convention.
Why not?
It's next week, isn't it?
No, I think it's a month. No, it's not next week. I think it's 3 weeks. August, late August. Because I guess they figured.
Well, you and I both know how it feels the 2 weeks after you've had the COVID. It doesn't feel good. Oh, we froze again? Oh no. Oh no. It's a Strike Force Freaky Friday if you're listening. Well, what else is there to do?
It looks like we got it. We're back. We just let Michael know. All right, I think we're back.
Did Eric Trump do that?
Probably. Somebody did that. Anyway, so where I was is simply how did the Democrats go out and rah, rah, rah Joe Biden now?
I don't think they're going to.
I mean, I don't see any way that the Democrats can rah, rah, rah him, can get behind him now.
Plus, the people from the campaign that are rah-rahing Joe Biden right now are doing so as if there's nothing wrong, that there were no problems, that there was never any concern, that he looks fine, that he's healthy, that he's more vital than Donald Trump, that he's willing to go through this race, that he's going to live for another 4 years, he's going to be on top of the situation, that he's not sick, that he's not doddering, that he's not forgetful, that he didn't screw up anybody's name, that he had a fine debate and everybody's making moon eyes at nothing. It's an overreaction, and none of that's true. But that's what they're saying. Joe Biden's fine. Joe Biden's going to win. Joe Biden's going to run and win.
Well,
and that's the problem, Vinnie. It's nothing I have against Joe Biden. It's just that I don't like it that he can't win, and that's what the brains are telling him. He's calling them party elites, but if Pelosi and the head of the Senate and the House tell him that he can't win, that's not party elites. That's not George Clooney coming up with a theory of his own.
Was it Schumer? Well, was it Schumer that sent him the message? And I agreed that it's really at this point, it's like a baseball pitcher who's lost his gas.
Yep, and he doesn't want to come out.
And
that's why the manager is out there saying, "I ain't asking you."
And the manager is, yeah, exactly. So that's what you have going for you. You have a guy.
I'd like to talk with Lou Piniella. Lou, did you ever go out and the guy wasn't coming out of the game?
Did you? Oh yeah. There's been times. I mean, I've seen it where guys have walked around the mound and Well, that's what it's funny because they're walking around the mound. When a guy doesn't want to come out, he'll walk away from the huddle and he'll walk around the back of the mound because they don't want to get into an argument with the manager on field.
Too late.
And they'll walk out and they'll circle around the pitcher's mound like they're circling a drain.
I'm looking for the rosin bag. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I got to go get the rosin bag. And Joe Biden right now is walking around the back of the pitcher's mound while everybody's huddled at the top of it by the rubber.
The bases are loaded. But there's
he
two
could
down.
have pitched a no-hitter for, 8 innings. And certainly there is prevailing wisdom that says you don't take somebody out of a no-hitter. But if bases are loaded, if you've walked 3 people on and you got a 3-ball count to the hitter, and it's a 1-0 game,
it's time for a change.
You got to change. You got to bring somebody. You know that they might not fire a strike.
And
but it gives you your best chance.
And as a Mets and Giant fan, we both know that the manager leaves him in too long. He leaves him in until the pickle becomes a mess. And then the mess becomes a tragedy, and then the game's over.
And so you have to, at this point, say, look, it's time. I mean, I was here when Nolan Ryan lost it on the mound. Gave up a grand slam home run to Dan Howard.
Imagine how embarrassing that was for Nolan Ryan.
And Howard felt sorry about hitting a home run. He felt bad. He said, it was throwing me meatballs.
I got one.
What am I going to do? Not hit it? So.
Well, if you had seen all 94 minutes of the speech last night, the takeaway was this guy's beatable. He's not invincible. He's not sharp. He's not the convincing, overpowering, wonderful candidate that he thinks he is.
Right.
He's an old dude, and Kamala could run him around the block. Keep him on the road. Keep him campaigning. Make those 94-minute speeches every day. Make that same stupid speech every day, and you're going to lose this race.
Yeah. How awesome would it be to have Joe out on a campaign stump campaigning for Kamala?
You got to do it.
And, it's not a point of...
Let him do it from the studio. Pipe it
in. We got one guy, and we got this guy, and we got that guy. Because Kamala, with a new vice president, is going to energize the party.
Yep. And the town and the whole process.
She is going to energize the 2 groups that the Democrats need most to beat Donald Trump. Women.
Yep.
And black people.
Funny thing about one of the comments this morning was, don't ask me why Joe Biden has to go. He's had multiple chances since the debate to regain himself, to come back into the fight, to show that he's got it. He can't argue with Trump. He can't win with Trump. He can't muscle Trump. He can't debate Trump. He can't take the things that Trump says to him. He can't accuse him. He can't pull these things off. He cannot articulate his own record. Nope. He got old in a hurry, and it's a sad thing to see, but he can be president emeritus for the rest of his term, and we'll thank him for getting out of the way, because there's still time to beat Trump. Plenty of time. But you got to have you got 30 days to get your act together. But no, 31 because July's a. I don't think you have that long. I think the campaign needs to start in a
week or 2. You got 30. You got 30 days till your convention. So between now and the convention, you have to have your candidate, whoever it will be, ready to go into that convention and put on a show like they put on, because they did put on a show, Michael. There were times watching that convention where you were looking at it saying, man, these people just look fired freaking up. And I don't know that Joe Biden is going to get people fired up like that.
No, even with the free Kool-Aid that the Republicans were serving.
Yeah, I don't think Joe Biden is going to get people fired up in that same manner, in that same direction.
The women of America can save this country.
I hate to say it. I hate to, but I think at this point, to make it a race, to give the people a choice.
With all the problems that the Democrats have had, they're still within the margin of error in all the battleground states. And that is impossible to believe. But if it's true, and I assume that it is because that's what the polls are saying, if that's true, then the race is not lost.
Here's the thing, Michael. If you put on a convention that has everybody rallying behind the head figure, has everybody rallying around without, maybe little pockets of dissension here and there, but, people are in there, they're enthusiastic. It's a new generation. It's a new morning. It's a new day in America. This Kamala Harris is what America represents these days. Not
is there a shining city on the hill?
Probably somewhere in there is. And you approach it where she comes through as a prosecutor, as a strong woman, as somebody who's ready to take the job.
Did you see her speech yesterday?
No, and gets the right people around her. You got a shot. Joe Biden has no shot. He can't trip one more time. He can't fall down between now and the 19th of August. He can't make a misstep. He can't stutter or utter or do it. I feel bad. The guy stutters.
And here's the thing: we got nobody on the campaign trail because Joe's going to be in lockdown. Kamala's the only game in town.
He's not going to be in lockdown for long. 5 days, right?
It took me longer than 2 weeks to get back to fighting for him.
Oh, well, now, again, what he has to be and what he may need to be. And again, he is part of that group like us that COVID affects us in a different way.
Yep. Don't be so sure he's going to bounce right back. It took me a while.
Yeah, it took me a while. I had that damn isolation.
I had that damn cough forever.
So, Michael, that's what I.
And Joe can't be on the campaign speech saying, "Folks, by the way, cough, cough, cough." You can't have that.
Yeah, you have to at this point. So anyway, this is going to be the ongoing saga. It's good for CNN and MSNBC and Fox because they have something to talk about now from now until the convention.
And the choice of the vice president is important.
Yeah. I think I'll just give you an early thought. I said before I like Gretchen Whitmer.
I like her.
I like Josh Shapiro from Pennsylvania.
The governor of
Pennsylvania. I knew him when he was the attorney general. I knew him when he was in Allegheny County.
And he can fight. He's a tough guy.
He's a tough guy. He's a no bull guy. And if you want to buy into the fact of who would you rather have, a convicted felon, which, it's funny, was never mentioned at the convention.
They never mentioned the abortion thing either. Never mentioned the Supreme Court. What do you think about that?
No.
They never mentioned Ukraine.
Never crossed their mind.
uh, if you, you know, if, if you pit the convicted felon versus two law enforcement officers, because that's what they are.
Officers of the court.
They can easily speak with authority about how we are going to clean up this nation, how we're going to make the crime,
and how the rule of law does apply. I don't care how many times you appeal it or what
right.
Eileen Cannon says.
Right. Exactly. That there is that the law applies to everybody. The law doesn't stop at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. The law goes right through the front door and right into the Oval Office.
Eric Weisselberg is seeing how the law applies to some people, most people, but not all people.
Well, I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be fast. You know, if nothing else, Michael, this is the most fascinating thing I've ever seen in politics.
It's never happened. This has never happened, ever.
And I've watched politics, and since I'm not 8-9 years old, man, I remember when I worked for Peter Holton. And I'll tell you a little story. If you want a little story,
I love a little story. You were 8 years old, and okay.
Here's my introduction to politics, Michael.
New York style.
What?
New York style.
New York style. I'm probably, let's see, this was 1966, I believe.
That was a good year.
So I'm 11 years old. There's a bar on the corner of 85th Street and Northern Boulevard that closed down. And all of a sudden, the campaign headquarters opens up there for a guy named Jim Holton. Peter was his son, I believe. And Jim Holton is a Republican, and he wants to run to beat Nick Ferraro, who is the Democratic state senator in the 13th district.
Any relation to Geraldine?
Cousin. Also later became my family lawyer.
Oh.
In an odd twist of my life, my faith. So anyway, I drive by. It's the bar where they're set up. The now campaign headquarters is between my house and the hobby shop, George's Ray Car, which is on Northern Boulevard. So of course I was a geek, man. I would drive up to the hobby shop all the time on my bike, go in and see buy a model car kit, race slot cars, So I'm going back and forth, and I see the campaign headquarters. So I go in, and I say, "Oh, what's this?" And this older woman is sitting, grandmotherly-like woman who's sitting there, says, "Oh, this guy's running for state senate. He's trying to beat Nick around." And she says to me, "Would you like to pass out some flyers?" These are the days where you could go down the street and put flyers in a car windshield.
Right.
She says that there's no pay, but we could really use your help. Oh, that's cool. Someone loves me. They're going to give me a stack of papers. I go on my bike and I start passing out flyers.
And you read one.
And so we keep going. And the campaign manager, because of my vivacious personality, this guy named Nat Goldstein, he's got a 62 Ford wagon.
He's a neighborhood player
with a tri-thing car top on it that says "Vote for Holton for state senate," and he's got a loudspeaker, and he hears me talking, and he says, "How would you like to be the loudspeaker boy? How would you like to go through? I'm going to drive this thing like up 82nd Street and down 94th Street and over to 74th Street, all the subway stops, and we're going to hand out literature, and you can be on the thing. Vote for Holton."
Oh, boy. He has the right guy.
I'm in 7th heaven. So my father gets wind of this, and my father was a Republican. And he, and so I take Nat down to my father's gas station, and Nat meets my father and says, "Can't say enough about me. Oh, my God, we love Vinnie." He's about 3 weeks into it. We love Vinnie. He's an inspiration to everybody. We love him. He's like our mascot. So they got me running all over. I'm going to the county convention and this and that. And I made up a little song. I'm voting Holton for the state senate. So why don't you vote for Holton too? And we're playing it, and we're doing it in the Italian neighborhoods, and people are stopping and looking. It's the best. It's the best, man. So, to make a long story even shorter, or even longer, so one day I ride my bike up to the headquarters, and I go inside to get, I had like a stack, and I get the paper, and I'm going to go do a couple of blocks of boom, boom, boom. Well, I come out, and my bicycle's gone.
Ooh.
I had a one of those Stingray bicycles, with the banana seat and the motorcycle handlebars, stick shift, and it's gone. My stupidity, I didn't lock it outside. I was only going in for a second, but somebody snatched it. So I go back inside and I talk to the woman, and then Nat comes by and says, "What happened?" Da 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 da. She says, "Oh." So Nat goes down to my father, and he says to my father, he doesn't tell me, he says it to my father. He says, "Don't say anything to Vinnie, but when the campaign on election day, when we have our little party at the election headquarters, we're going to get Vinnie a new bike. We feel so bad that this happened to him while he was working for us, while he was helping us out." So my father doesn't say anything. To the election night comes, my father comes with me to the thing. We go to the campaign headquarters, and we're there all night. Nobody really says anything. It's apparent that Ferraro is beating Holton like 20-1. Whoa. I mean, Ferraro was a machine politician. We had a thing in Astoria called Tamniant Hall, not Tammany Hall, but Tamniant Hall. And there was a guy in there who, he controlled the neighborhood. You ran, Ferraro and Thomas LaFauci and those guys. They ran the neighborhood. You weren't beating them. It was like you were sacrificial chicken if you were running up against them.
You were Dizzy Potts if you thought you were going to win.
Yeah. But you think you have a shot, as any politician does. Somebody told me that you can't do this if you think you're going to lose.
Right.
If you go into this and you're thinking you're going to lose, you shouldn't be in this. So party happens. Everybody goes home. Nat says to my father, "We'll be in contact in a couple of days."
Nope.
Today is July 19th, 2025. That was November 4th, 1966.
You must have missed the call. They called, I'm sure of it.
And every morning I get up and I kind of look out my door and I see if there's a brand new Stingray sitting out there. And that was the greatest lesson of my life, Michael, because it taught me that politicians fucking lie. And they'll lie to a little kid. They'll do anything to get somebody to work for them, and they'll get somebody to get them to do anything to get them elected. They all do it. And Holton, Jim Holton was a nice guy. He was a lawyer. I think he might have been at one time an assistant DA or something like that. But he was a good guy. I liked him. I mean, he took me up to his office. I mean, we went up to his office. He had this beautiful office on the white in the white building that's on Queens Boulevard by the White Castle. I had me sit up there. I was enamored with his secretary. His secretary was like a young, oh my God, I had a crush. Anyway, I think he might have too, though. Who knows?
Yeah.
But it was one of the greatest experiences of my life because it taught me two lessons. It taught me to get involved in politics, that it was worth it, and it taught me don't believe what anybody's telling you.
You got to pick your sides carefully as you get more experience.
Yep. Later on, in like I say, the Code of Irony, Nick Ferraro becomes my lawyer.
Did you tell him that story?
Oh yeah. I told him the whole story. And Ferraro was a gracious guy. I mean, he was an old school Italian. He was a guy that ran the neighborhood. He was one of these guys that he knew where everything was going. And he says, "Gee, I'm sorry." I didn't ask him for a Stingray bike because then I said, that would have made me a life.
But a Chevy Stingray, that would have been nice.
Well, no, but a Schwinn Stingray. So that's the day I learned, Michael, don't trust politicians.
They simply can't be trusted.
If they're a politician, they will say anything that they need to say to get elected. So why
at the top of the pyramid are we willing? Not we, but some Americans are willing to trust Donald Trump and J.D. Vance to do exactly what they said they were going to do last night.
Because there are a certain amount of people that want them to do what they're going to do, what they said they were going to do last night. We have a faction in this country that want. It's not unity. It's like we got you with our foot on your neck. Stay there until the election. We won't kill you, but we'll keep you around until it's over. And there's some things that they say that even people listen. There are people, Michael, who are Democrats, who are afraid that they are going to lose their position, that they're going to lose their office. And so they're actually sidling up to the idea that you should vote for Trump and then go down ballot and vote for them.
Yeah.
Because they know Biden here is his chance of winning this thing every day is getting less.
And they're gonna get dragged down with the Maelstrom. They're gonna go down.
Right, and we could wind up. I mean, the best you could hope for now, I think, if Biden stays, I think the best you could hope for, the best, is that you would have Trump as president, and maybe you would have a slight majority in the Senate and a slight majority in the House, because sometimes
that's a dream that doesn't
people vote for checks and balances, but I don't. Or you could have something where everybody gives Trump an agenda and just says, and the 50% that don't like Trump are screwed for the next 4 years. And I don't like being screwed.
The screwing that they have planned is going to last a lot more than 4 years, I'm afraid.
Yeah. I haven't gotten all the way through it yet, but that I don't know. It's just, and the interesting thing too, Michael, is that you just have all of these, it's like the robber, like we said the other day, the robber barons are lining up behind Trump. So
I think it's the smart play.
Yeah.
But you know what? They will double down on Kamala if she hits the ground running.
Well,
say, we didn't expect that, but I can read the room. Yeah, send her some money. Now, Trump later today is calling Volodymyr Zelensky. But if he dials the phone, it'd be very easy for him to get through to Slovakia instead.
What's he calling him?
He's calling him to say, hello there, tell me about the war.
I'm going to call him a name.
No, it's going to be a phone call. Why they're talking, I don't know.
I'm sorry, I thought.
Do you hear that noise? That's the rockets coming into Kyiv. That's what I'm putting up with today. Now I gotta talk with you.
Yeah, it's not gonna be pretty for the Ukraine.
Call Slovakia. They're waiting for your call.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty for the Ukraine. It's not going to be pretty for any of those countries over there because you get the feeling he's going to give Putin a ticket to ride. Sorry,
just
John.
Just going to pull the plug. Just going to pull the plug. I didn't tell Putin what to do. He came up with that idea all on his own.
He's going to leave those people coming out of the bathroom with their dick in their hands.
Or worse.
That's a quote from The Godfather, by the way.
That's a quote from The Godfather.
I don't want my brother coming out of that bathroom with his dick in his hands.
So said Santino Corleone.
So said Santino Corleone. You know, Michael, it's a good day when we can work our Godfather reference into the show.
It's very, if not completely applicable to what we saw.
It's good for people like me who love to watch politics, Michael. It's going to be a zoo, a depressing zoo, I think, because I like Joe Biden. I don't know how much I like him as president, but I've met him, I've talked to him. He's a genuine, real guy. He probably lies about a lot of crap because he's a politician.
I don't think that's in doubt. I think that his reputation is intact.
But here's a guy that when I met him, he didn't just shake my hand and take a selfie. When I met him and I thanked him for Obamacare because it was after I was in my coma. And he stopped and talked to me for like 5 minutes about what happened and how I was helped and then we took the selfie. And he had that thing. And I said to him that day, please run for president.
What did he say?
He said, I don't know. I was at a rally for a guy that Connor Lamb, who was our congressman for.
I remember that name.
Yeah, Connor Lamb. He was a guy that people were kind of mentioning as somebody who had high political potential, but he got beat. They rejiggered his district, and he got beat. Anyway, so I got a great space in my heart for Joe Biden. And so I'll say, like I would say to my grandfather, if he couldn't drive the fruit truck down to the market to pick up the fruit and bring it back to his stand, Papa, let's hire somebody to do this.
Let's get you a driver.
Let's get you a driver. You can still go with him down to the fruit stand, and you can still pick out the fruits that you like because nobody knows how to pick out fruits like you pick out fruits. You pick out the best.
We need your experience. You just don't need to be behind the wheel.
You can tell a ripe watermelon 5 miles away.
They're heavier.
But as far as driving there, we got to get your driver. We got to get somebody else. Michael, I'd say that's the show.
Well, we're lucky to have one on a Strike Force Friday.
Yeah. I wonder what did all the computers? Did everybody have to walk up the stairs in the Strike Force tower?
I hope so. I hope they find out who's the guy that sent it out. Did you check that code?
I haven't talked to my sister yet. She works in downtown San Francisco, and she has everything she does runs on computer. I mean, there's no paper in insurance anymore. It's all on computer. And she must have had a day yesterday that she's probably not recovered from. I'll have to call her and give her some words of encouragement.
She had a really freaky Friday.
She had a freaky Friday, a terrible Thursday, and a wild Wednesday, I'm sure. She's probably 3 days into the.
Tell her to take the day off with pay.
I will. Michael, I'll see you
Monday, Ben. Have a good show tomorrow at 11 o'clock.
Thank you. 11 o'clock tomorrow for drive time, if the computers let us. And I will see you on Monday if the Lord's willing and the creek don't rise.
It's a deal. See you, Ben.
All right. Peace, love, Manischewitz, baby.
What a wine.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. We always appreciate it. Bye-bye.